You or someone you love needs help for an addiction. Where do you turn? Foundations Recovery Network offers individualized treatment for the whole person. Our goal goes beyond short-term sobriety. We address substance abuse and co-occurring mental health issues together, providing a firm foundation for long-term recovery. The first step is often the hardest, but we're here with a free assessment, insurance information, and treatment options. Our confidential helpline is available 24/7, so call 877-714-1318 and discover the Foundations Recovery Network difference today.
This is Rich Roll, and you're listening to Sober Guy Radio.
Yo, what's up? Thank you for tuning in today. Thanks to Humans for bringing us in. Thanks to you for supporting the show. Had a lot of emails lately about Humans music. Man, what is that dope-ass song in the beginning of the show? What's the intro about? So, finally, after months and years, I don't know how long it's been since Humans has been kind enough to let us play the music to intro and outro the show. And what's up to my homeboy Robbie? Man, miss that dude. I got to talk to him. Robbie, if you're listening to this, man, hit me up. But thank you for letting us use the music. And we finally added a link in the show notes page. It's dashumans.com if you're interested in finding out more information about Humans music, when they're touring. They have merch there. And you can also find them on Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, of course. But you can go directly to their website. That's dashumans.com, dashumans.com. And we'll put that in the show notes along with our other sponsors, Foundations Recovery Network and Sober Nation. And you can find that in each episode's show notes. We're going to talk about Relapsed today. We're going to read some emails. Love getting the emails from you guys. It is a bit hard for me to keep up with all of them between the corporate show and the work that I'm doing on that and Sober Guy, but I really do my best. So I appreciate you guys reaching out, asking questions. I don't have all the answers. I can't answer everything. I can only share what's worked for me and what hasn't worked for me. And I think that's what I'm going to do a little bit today is read a couple emails and dive in to dissecting a couple parts of them and give you some of my thoughts on it. And hopefully it can help someone out there who's listening today. So before we do that, be sure to check us out at thatsoberguy.com. You can get past episodes there. There's resources there. You can contact us. You can look at our social media page. And in fact, I just updated the website. So please go there, check it out. The social media is on there, our Twitter, our Instagram. You can follow us on there and keep up with what's going on each week on the Sober Guy platform. And also, please leave us a review on iTunes. It's a big help. We have some great reviews. I think I posted them up on Instagram recently, and it's always cool to see those too. So I appreciate you guys reaching out, staying connected, and talking to us because it really does add to this great community of sobriety, of recovery, whether you're doing it in the private Facebook group, which is still active, by the way. I haven't talked about that in a minute. Let me touch on that real fast. We have a private Facebook group called Sober Guy, Sober Girl. So if you're on Facebook, you can jump on there. You can request and add. My lovely mother or my lovely wife, the two admins of that group, will check you out in there and make sure everything's legit and that you're not a bot or a spam artist or whatever like that, which we don't get many of those to my knowledge, but occasionally we do. They make sure it's legit. They approve you. They get you in there, and you got a great community of people who are going through some of the same stuff in recovery, and they can support each other, ask questions. So if you're interested in that, you can go on Facebook, just search Sober Guy, Sober Girl. You can find that private group there. But yeah, go check out the website. It's all updated. There's some new stuff on there. There's an announcement about a new digital podcast video course I'm going to be launching. So I just put a little promo video up there that I recorded yesterday. So you can check that out there too. Now, if you or a loved one might need some help, you can contact Foundations Recovery Network at 877-714-1318. Foundations has nationwide residential and outpatient facilities, and they can provide a confidential assessment and review the best treatment options for you or your situation. Once again, let me give you that number. That's 1-877-714-1318. Give them a call if you have some questions or need more info. The great folks over there, Foundations Recovery Network. Yes. So we're going to read a couple emails today. We're going to talk about them a little bit. I'm going to talk about them a little bit. And let's just dive right in, I guess. It says, I've never done this before, but I feel I may be struggling with alcohol. I drink often, but not a lot. I'll have 2 to 4 beers almost every night. And I'll have 2 to 4 beers almost every night. I said that kind of weird there. Kind of rolled off my tongue, a little bit funky, so I wanted to repeat. Look at that. Getting it. The reason I feel it is a struggle is because I can't seem to stop. I could use the money elsewhere, but I want to keep drinking because I get bored or lonely. I'm not violent, but it's an easy way to relax and feel happy. I don't know what else to do instead or how to stop. I was hoping you may have some suggestions. My name's Jacob, by the way. So, Jacob, thanks for reaching out, man. I know I responded to you, I think, via email too, but I figured, what the hell? Let's read the email and maybe I can answer a couple questions for you. I'm going to give it a shot. 2 to 4 beers almost every night. I think, like for somebody like me, or I think of Seth, and I don't think Seth would mind if I kind of spoke for him because we've talked about this a lot too. Seth could drink 20 beers. And I'm not saying that's better or worse. It's probably definitely worse, actually. But point being is that, and he would do it almost every night too. Okay. And Jacob's saying I drink 2 to 4 beers almost every night. Well, regardless of the amount, obviously it's a little different. I'm sure that people's tolerance levels are different too. But the concept of this all is not how many you're drinking. I mean, it's obvious if you're drinking 20 beers, it's a problem. It might not be as obvious for somebody who drinks 20 beers if you drink 2 or 4 beers. The point is, if you're doing it every night and you don't feel like you can stop, it's an issue. And for a lot of us, I know for me, I wasn't a 20 beer drinker. And I think Seth and I talked about this on last week's episode, where I didn't drink, 20 beers. I drank maybe 8, 9, or 10. Maybe sometimes I drank 5 and I took some bong rips instead, whatever. It was at a point where it got easy for me to justify, because I could say, well, I'm not drinking 20 beers. I'm not drinking a bottle of Johnny Walker, every night or whatever it is. It was easy for me to say that I didn't have a problem as much. And so I want to point that out, whether it's 2 to 4 beers, whether it's 20 beers, if it feels like a problem to you, then it's probably a problem. If you're questioning it, it's an issue. Okay. It needs to be addressed. And so, that's the first thing. Now you say I could use the money elsewhere. I don't know if you go to the I Am Sober app. I think it's iamsober.com. They sponsored the show before. They're really good dudes over there putting a great app together. It's free. You can go on the iTunes store, Google Play Store, and you can download it there. I think you can go right to the website, iamsoberapp.com. And you can find out how much money you've saved. What you do is you estimate, right? Say you spent over the course of 15 years of your drinking career and you spent $20 a day. Do the math on that. That'll come out to how much you've saved in that allotted time. So when you put that in perspective, you could use the money elsewhere. Go back and think about how much money you've spent on beer and cigarettes and Coke and weed and whatever it is that you're doing out there, and check that out, because that puts things in perspective. Like, holy shit, I could have bought a brand new truck with that, or you know what I mean, with that money. And we can always use the money elsewhere. Man, when I quit drinking, it didn't happen immediately, but over the course of the last 5 years, I have a hell of a lot more money than I had 5 years ago. I was fucking broke. It's not like I have a ton of money or anything by any means, so I don't want to get that twisted here. But I'm doing okay right now. Our family's doing okay. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't fucking know. But point being is that when I was drinking and using drugs and doing all that, I was in debt, like behind in debt. I think we're all a little bit in debt in some aspect. If we have mortgages and car payments and bills and taxes and all that stuff. But to be behind in debt too, and just not have any money and constantly being, barely able to breathe, damn near getting evicted, getting your water turned off, getting your lights turned off. I've been through all that shit. And, it was tough, and it was, I definitely could have used the money I was spending on drugs and alcohol elsewhere. That's for sure. So you might want to, take a tally on that. You can do that on that I Am Sober app and look how much, you've spent, or how much you could have saved. How'd you do that? That might help you, ease up a little bit or stop. Now you also mentioned too, getting bored or lonely. Man, get a hobby, exercise, take a run, lift some weights. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. Go jump in the pool if you got a gym. Do some swimming. That's exercising. Ride a bike. I don't know, all kinds of shit you can do. I mean, there's tons of stuff, but you gotta kind of think outside the box. The boredom thing, I feel like for me it was just an excuse to drink. A lot of the time, I'm bored, I'll just get fucked up. Like, why not? And because it's an easy thing to do, especially when you're in that pattern. Okay, so you got to find a hobby. You got to find something that you like to do, and get out and do it. Golf is a big thing. I've talked a little bit about that on the show before. I just got to play just a few days ago on Father's Day, actually. So actually, speaking of that, thank you to my wife for setting up a golf date for me with a couple of the homies, Nick and Kenny, and I went out and we played a little bit. And it's funny because I don't drink on the golf course anymore. I used to get fucked up. I used to get so tore back on the golf course, and by the time I got to usually like 13th to 14th hole, sometimes sooner, but usually about that time, number one, I was not, worried about golf anymore. Number two, I was pretty jacked up to where I couldn't really play, and a lot of the time I would just stop. I just wouldn't play anymore. I would just drive the cart and just continue to get, trash, because it's like, what's the point of playing golf anymore? And it's so much different now where, that's something I like to do. Jacob, you said here that it's an easy way to relax for you and feel happy. Well, playing golf, and I'm just using this as an example. I have quite a few things that I do that are relaxing and make me feel happy. But golf is one of them. When I'm out, I'm not drinking out there. I'm having a good time. I'm relaxing. I'm happy. I'm with a couple homies. We're shooting the shit. We're joking around. I'm sober. I'm not in that mind state where everything revolves around alcohol, and I'm actually focused on playing golf. Now, it doesn't make me play any better. I have some good shots here and there, which keeps me going, and a couple good putts here and there, but for the most part, it's bogey golf all day long. But I'm having fun doing it, and I'm able to relax. I'm able to enjoy the moment, being in the moment, and it's because I find something that I like to do. So that's what I would encourage you on that. Find something that you like to do. Those are my suggestions for you, Jacob, kind of based on some of my experience. Also get out to a meeting, man. Get in your community. Find some other folks around you, some young cats. I know in our correspondence, we kind of emailed back a couple of times. I think you said you were 22. So, I mean, you're a young dude, man. You got a lot of life to live ahead of you. And that goes for anyone else out there listening who's in their, teens or early 20s, even mid to late 20s, whatever. You start getting in your 30s, you're fucking old. Okay, I'm 36 now. Now we're starting to get old. We're going over the hill. It's on that other side now. I still feel like I'm like 26. But, man, for you young cats out there, you got a lot of shit, man. Just be patient. Chill. You know what I mean? Be patient. Enjoy the moment, relax. Don't feel like you have to have it all figured out. You ain't ever going to have it all figured out. I'm 36. I don't have it all figured out. My sponsor is 52. He doesn't have it all figured out. We're never going to have it figured out. That's just the way it is. We're constantly learning and in process, and we got to be able to be cool with that and sit in that each day. It's fun. It's like a fucking game, like figuring something out new each day. I love it. I love waking up and trying to, what the fuck is God going to do today? You know what I mean? I mean, that's the kind of perspective. Is every day easy and, is there challenges along the way? Absolutely. It's part of life. Get over it. Let's move on to this next one. He says, "Hey, Shane, my name is Jeff." This one's a little longer. I'm going to dive into this one a little bit more. I kind of, and by the way, I want to mention too, okay, I went through these emails a little bit ago while I was writing some show notes. I'm actually in a hotel room right now, as a matter of fact. And I don't ever give times and dates, but it's a Thursday night at 11:22. You know what I mean? And I'm finally just getting some time to record this before it goes out tomorrow on a Friday. And that's how this thing rolls sometimes. I do it in the moment. Okay, I try to plan as best I can, and I'm only telling you this because it applies to life. It applies to the daily things that I go through each day and that you do probably too. You got to live in the moment. I'm not saying don't have a plan, but like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And then what the fuck do you do? So you got to be able to flex a little bit and just understand that shit's going to work out just the way it's supposed to, okay? So some of these talking points and little notes that I wrote, I wouldn't even call them notes. They're just kind of points that I want to pull out of this email because it's a little bit longer than Jacob's was. I don't have answers to these written down. I'm going to answer them right off the top of my head. Okay. So I just want to be, open about that, because I think that's really the best way to do it, is being open, just being real, being in the moment. And when you take that and you let go and you apply that to the daily grind of shit, man, life is a lot easier. All right. So he says, "Hey Shane, my name's Jeff. I'm 46. I went to my first meeting when I was 16. I'm now 7 months sober." Congrats on that, by the way, man. That's awesome. Which if you do the math, it doesn't add up. But that's because I am the champion revolving door drunk and addict. I'm so good at messing up, it's not even funny. Welcome to the fucking club, Jeff. Actually, you have a little bit more experience, it sounds like, than myself and probably some other folks out there listening. So maybe you should be welcoming me to the club about being the revolving drunk and addict or whatever. We're all in the same boat, is what I'm saying. He said, I'm so good at messing up, it's not even funny. I've been through 8 or 9 treatment centers, a few sober living homes. I'm currently living in one, and I have done numerous tries at 12-step meetings. I've gotten a couple of strings of sobriety, but I was never really sober. I took fake it till you make it, and I turned it right into my own program. Faking it for a while was great, but eventually it falls apart. Right now I have nothing. I have a crummy job. I have no money. And if I didn't have this sober home, I'd be homeless. I've lost marriages and friends and family. This disease has devastated my family, and my family and his 2 brothers have died from the disease. Super sad, man. That is just all too common. It sucks. It definitely runs in families. But let's see. Jeff goes on to say, I'm at the bottom and I only can go up. Here's the bright spot about this, and I'm going to touch on this. We're almost done with the email, and I'll go into some of these points here. But he says, I have an amazing little girl who's 10. Okay, so we have amazing times together. We go shopping, watch Netflix, make pizza. And I remember when I think I wrote this back to Jeff too when I first read this, like, okay, so you read the shit, like, I have nothing, I have no money, I'm in a sober home, like all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, I'm reading this the other day, and all of a sudden this love just fucking jumps off the page and punches me in my face when he starts talking about his daughter and how she's his world. And there's something about that when we focus on the positive, and I'm not saying that we have to be blind to our reality. The reality is, maybe Jeff has a shitty job he doesn't like, doesn't have a lot of money right now. He's in a spot that he's been in, that fucking revolving door. I get it. But we can look at the reality of that and find a way to sit in it in the moment and be okay with it. And that comes through working a program, the step meetings, meditation, prayer, all that stuff that we talk about, putting in the work behind that. And also what I'm learning is just being patient and right where I'm at, and not trying to always look to the next thing, which is really fucking hard to do. Really hard to do sometimes, especially for me, because I tend to have these grandiose ideas, and, I think it's great to have visions and dreams and stuff, no doubt. You got to have that. It's what keeps me going sometimes. But also we got to be able to sit right where we're at, the good times and the bad. And, a way we do that, to bring this back around, and then I'm going to finish the email. It's just about wrapped up. But is that we're able to focus on the positive stuff. And so Jeff starts talking about his daughter here, and it's just like, wow, man, you can feel the love there, man. And that he does, like, fuck all the other stuff. Like, he's got something, that really means something to him and that he enjoys. And so he goes on to say, the reason I'm telling you all of this is because I was wondering, what would you do if you relapsed? Would you continue the podcast? They say relapse is a part of recovery. So would you honestly share that? What's your experience with relapse? Maybe you could even do a podcast about relapse. It's important to talk about, I think, to let people know that relapse doesn't mean it's over. Maybe you could share what you do if you relapse, and maybe reassure people in relapse they're okay. They can still come back, and the door is still open to them, and it's always open. It's a great email, man. It's so many good points in there. I kind of had to break it up a little bit and check it out. So Jeff, thanks for writing in. Good to talk to you a little bit through email. I'm glad to be able to read this. And let me give you a couple takes on this. Like I said in the beginning, I don't have all the answers. I don't know. But I'll do my best to share some of my own thoughts here. You asked what you would do if you relapsed. And it's funny that you asked that because I've had that thought many times. What would I do? And if I'm all honest, it's kind of scary. And I don't really know. I don't know that I have an exact answer. I'll tell you what I'd like to say. Now, what I'd like to say is, oh man, what I would do is, I'd jump right back into, to my meetings and, I'd really buckle down and I'd really, reach out to my sponsor. And I want to say that I would do all the right things. Okay. But the honest to God truth is if I relapse, I might fucking die. Like straight up, I might die. And I'm not saying that to be, negative or be dramatic or anything, but I have to be honest with that. And that's, I think that depending on how you look at that, it can be a good thing because I'm so scared of what would happen. That keeps me going every day to stay on point with my program and knowing that, I could, hypothetically that could happen any day. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know, how I'm going to respond in a traumatic event, let's say. I'll give you an example here. One of the scenarios that plays in my head sometimes, which a lot, most of us have them, is what would happen if I lost somebody close to me? Would I be able to stay sober? And, once again, I'd like to say, of course I would. I have a very strong program. I have the podcast. I have great community around me. I have resources. I'm open. But the honest to God truth is I don't really know. I don't know. And I only know what I know right now in this moment. And that is what I have to focus on. I can't get caught up in trying to future trip on what could happen, what might happen, what if, and I understand the question too. So I'm not trying to, kind of work my way around it. I'm being honest. Like, I don't really know what I would do, but it scares the shit out of me. And that alone is enough to motivate my ass to just keep going. And I will say one thing too. This podcast, this platform, I think even for me to recognize the impact it's had in helping to keep me sober is way more than I even realize. There have been times in the past where, I've thought about going back to that. And, it hasn't been in a while, thankfully. And I feel, like my sobriety gets a little stronger each day, but, there's definitely been times in the responsibility that I feel, to continue on and be able to do the show and be sober and not just because I feel obligated that I'm like trying to save the fucking world or anything or be this recovery person or not even anything like that, just for the main fact that I really fucking enjoy it. I really love doing this. It's it's something that is very passionate. I'm very passionate about, and it runs real deep, and I've put a lot of work and time into this. So to think about giving all of that up, my not just the podcast, but even more importantly, my family, my kids, my wife, all that stuff in a relapse, it scares me. Now, that said, if you haven't turned this off already because you've started to think, holy shit, I relapsed, oh fuck, or maybe like you're like Jeff and you've gone through this. That said, there's hope if you did, because it is part of the process for a lot of people. They've been through it many, many times and they keep coming back. And I'll give you a good example of that, an episode you can go back and listen to with Amy Dresner. I believe it is episode 175. And Amy, she wrote the book, My Fair Junkie, and she was in and out for years of the program. I mean, in and out. She had some really fucking serious shit happen too. I mean, she went to jail. She went to a psych ward for a while. She lost her marriage, lost a lot of friends and family. And I mean, the whole fucking 9 yards, everything with her. So if you really want to hear some stories about relapse, that would be a good one to go back and listen to, is episode 175, because I've been able to string together till this day, 4 years and however many months it is, 4.5 years or so, right around there, without going back out. And, I thank God for that every day. But the hypothetical thing, I don't really know. One thing I know is that it does scare the shit out of me to think about that. And that's what keeps me vigilant in moving forward and not going down. And plus, if I'm really honest, like, I don't even want to fucking get like drunk or anything or high or anything like that. It doesn't sound fun to me anymore. Like, I like to be in control of my emotions and my mind, and I want to be sound and sharp and on point and like know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be in that mind state ever again. It just doesn't even like, it doesn't really cross my mind like that anymore. Like, oh man, I'd really like to do that. I don't know. Maybe that's just a time right now in my life where I'm at. I hope it's not, but, and I know for some folks who out there and maybe early on in their recovery, that's a really hard point right now where you do just want to get high. So I feel you on that. I was definitely there in the first couple of years, too, but I think as my recoveries went on, it's been less about like wanting to get high and just more about trying to figure out how to deal with life, like life shit on life's terms. The program is definitely more about life than it is about not drinking. Not drinking is a huge component of it, no doubt, especially in the beginning. But as it goes on, there's so much more to it, and you're not really going to understand that unless you dive into some sort of program, some sort of community. Now, the next question, and I took a little bit longer on that than I wanted to, but I just got going, and that's just the way it is sometimes. But this next question, would you continue the podcast? I don't know. I mean, that's another I don't know question. I mean, it's hard for me to answer a couple of these, with certainty. I'd like to say that I would definitely continue it, because it'd be a bump in the road, no pun intended, because there'd probably be a lot of cocaine involved in a relapse. But if I came back from that, hey, I would hope to finish and continue on with the podcast and serve as an example of someone who fucked up and, went back out, and it's not like hasn't happened before. This is the more I hear myself talking right now and talk about this, I don't even like talking about this, to be honest. 100% transparent right now. This feels fucking weird to talk about relapsing. Like, I haven't gotten there yet. I hope I never do. And so it's really, it's hard for me to talk about it and relate to somebody out there who's going through it, because that's not my story of recovery right now. It's not. I haven't been through multiple. I was so ready to get sober when I went into treatment. I would have fucking eaten a piece of shit probably. If someone scooped up a big fucking hot steaming pile of dog shit and was like, hey, you are going to eat this pile of dog shit, but you're going to be sober afterwards, I would have fucking ate the shit. Like, straight up. That's how bad I wanted to get sober, and I just would have fucking, I wouldn't have cared. And, point being is I was very motivated when I went into rehab like that. I was done, 100% done. And so, this story is not my story. That's why I'm going to go back to this one more time and move on to this next question. Go back on the relapse part and really listen to Amy's episode, because she dives into that quite a bit more. Last point I made here about this email was about the door still being open. And I think we'll end with this today, whenever you're listening to this. I'm recording it at night, day. I'm fucking tired right now, but the door's still open, and that is just a huge thing. That you're never alone. Even if you go in and out of the rooms like Jeff, has done. He's been through multiple treatment centers and sober homes and 12 steps. You just don't give up. Do not give up. And I'm going to say it again. I remember back with Amy's episode in 175, that was one of the main points is don't fucking give up. Like they say in the rooms, keep coming back. Keep going back. Like if you want to get sober bad enough, you'll eat the shit. You'll eat the shit if you want to get sober that bad. You're just going to have to suck it up and do what it takes. And if you can't, put it together, just don't give up. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And Jeff says here, reassuring people even in relapse, even in fucking up, even in, whatever it is, they can still always come back. You can always come back. The doors are always open in the recovery community. And that's the beautiful thing about it is people have been there. Like you think you're alone in something, you're not. You're not special. Like I'm not special. We're all not special. We're all in this shit together. It's the same thing. And so when you start to feel like that, if you're out there feeling like you're alone and, you're the only one going through this stuff, like you're not. And, just step out, get to a meeting, get to your church, get to a group, call a homie, call your sponsor, do whatever it takes. Just get out of your own head. That's a big thing. The door's always open. Keep coming back. I'm going to wrap it up here today, like I said, and like I said, like 50 times. I don't know why I continue to do that, but I appreciate the conversation with myself tonight. I do that sometimes. I forget I'm the only one on the mic. I'm like, I enjoyed discussing this. Well, I didn't really discuss anything because I just fucking talked to myself for the last 30 minutes or so. But you know what I'm getting at. I do enjoy reading the emails. I enjoy, responding to them to the best of my ability. I don't have all the answers for the third time tonight, but I do my best to share some stuff. I hope you heard something tonight that spoke to you and that made you think a little bit and made you want to continue on in your recovery journey, your sober life, your sober fucking whatever it's called. I don't even know at this point. I think I'm going delirious. Go to thatsoberguy.com for past episodes, resources. You can contact us there. You can support us by leaving us a review on iTunes. Check out the new site, by the way. I know I plugged it in the beginning, but go on there, leave us a comment. Follow us on social media, all that good stuff. Thank you for listening. Peace, love, respect. Have a great motherfucking Friday if you're listening to this. Have a great weekend. And don't forget to keep your blood clean. Oh, yeah.